All right, now extending that same pattern and series of activities that we did with the first move of the walking kata that comes from the Aikido tradition, but then applying it for Judo Kuzushi, we're going to take the side-to-side step. So in that walking kata form that Mr. Tomiki developed, he has the forward stepping and backward stepping, which we just did, and now he has side stepping. So I'm going to get Kyle right here on the neutral point, right where the two lines cross, and he's going to go back and forth. This direction, that direction, staying right on that line the whole time. That way again, then back to neutral, then this way again, back to neutral. Every time we're back at the point where the lines intersect, we're calling that neutral. And it's important to build that neutral point into it so you have a starting point and an ending point each time. If you try to affect the Kuzushi on every step, it devolves. Your uke can't receive the techniques cleanly, and you'll get some confusion built up in your system. So coming back to neutral, very important deal. Now again, just as in the last time, we're going to mirror his action or get into a synchrony with him. And I'm going to have him turn and face me right here on the line again. Come forward, there you go. And I'm just going to get my gaze right on his sternum. That's my basic focal point so I can see his whole body with my peripheral vision. And as he takes off, I want to take off with him and just mirror as closely as I can the space and the timing of Kyle's steps. And again, once we've got that down, that was pretty good, I think. I tried to get the rise and the fall together. I tried to get the feet touching at the same time. And I tried to keep the space condition as close to identical as I could. Now that takes a little time because you really got to lock in and be sensitive to his movement. Now we're going to let him touch us. He gets a hold of us in some way, shape, or form, whatever judo way he likes. And we take off again. And again, without doing any affect, just reading the movement and coming back to it as neutral as we can. Now, I moved him off the line slightly. There we go. We'll keep right on that line. Good. Now, as he takes off, we're going to do the same thing we did before. This time, we're going to stretch the step slightly just as he goes off down his line. We're going to go off that same line, and we're going to just stretch a little bit. We come back to neutral. He takes off the other direction, stretch a little bit. He comes back to neutral, stretch a little bit, back to neutral, stretch a little bit. So our feet take off together, but mine tracks, a few inches further before it hits the ground. So my center of gravity draws him out slightly. Now you can also do other things. You don't have to do only the stretching. You can also do a very interesting action, which we take off in a direction. For instance, this way, which is what the kata says. We go in that direction, and then I change my mind. So I retard the action. I begin to move with him. I begin to track with him, and then cut it short and go the opposite way. You can see this better, perhaps, like this. We take off, and then I change my mind. And that creates a pretty radical kind of Kuzushi, and you can do that one back and forth. So we take off, I change my mind. We come back to neutral. I take off, I change my mind. We come back to neutral. He takes off, I change my mind. And you see how it pitches him up and causes a little extra reflex action in him right here every time. The center of gravity is defining a little forward-backward arc. So he reads, his signals are all giving him the signal that I'm taking off with him. We're all going on this ride together. But in the middle of it, it goes the other way. The third thing you can do with this is kind of interesting, is from the same gripping conditions, that as he takes off down the side, you can again expand the space slightly between you, and then back to neutral, and expand the space slightly between you, and back to neutral. I went the wrong way, sorry. Let's start here, neutral. He takes off, expand the space, neutral, expand the space, neutral. So our feet diverge slightly. And again, it's the timing of the action. And as you might predict, there's converging the space, crowding him on the side step, crowding him on the side step, crowding him on the side step, and crowding him on the side step here. Again, no hands at first. You want to generate all these activities just with the center of gravity in motion in relating to his center of gravity in motion. Once you've got that working, once it's happening in the right timing and with the right subtlety of movement, then you can add the hands. And again, I caution you, don't add the hands with grips. Only add the hands as open palms, lightly massaging and accentuating the action that's coming out of the center and out of the feet. Because if you decide, well, I'm just going to grip down and do this, your own gripping function will tend to dampen the effects and will tend to give interference to what you're trying to develop. The hands need to only accentuate or support the actions that you're developing from the feet. So if I'm going to do the extension one, for instance, I place my hands lightly on him, he takes off, and I come to the inside of this elbow and the outside of this elbow. We go back to neutral, and I change. And back to neutral, and I change right here. This is on the outside of his elbow and just touching the inside of his elbow. We go back to neutral, we go the other direction, the hands weave under, change. So on the extension, you can see the hands just coming up and around, massaging, and again, like the first one, it can be anywhere on the body doing this job. The main thing is that you just feel the lines develop from the action of the bodies moving together, and then you just let the hands lightly accentuate, and they accentuate at the end of the action. So if we're doing, for instance, the one where we went sideways and then I retracted a little bit, we do this one, I'll just do it. This, I don't want to get my hands involved in here until very, very end of it. So as we take off, just at the end, the hands engage, and yeah, surprise, he can't come back from it. It's a nice little hand throw. But if I do it too early, if I go, yeah, he feels it coming like, whoa, I get locked down fast. It's all in a matter of timing. We take off again. He can't stop that. And he tried. I think he tried, yeah, yeah. So the action happens because the center of gravity does the job, and then the hands touch just at the end of the activity of off balance or Kuzushi that we're trying to develop. The hands only engage at the tail end. Very critical to develop that sense of timing for your hand work, for your teiwaza, and for your judo. Great, thank you. Thank you.